Hello friends, my name is Ryan, your tech maestro at Azure DevOps Pulse. We welcome you to our YouTube channel. In today's session, we will learn how we can deploy multiple virtual machines and other resources using Terraform with the help of Azure DevOps CI/CD pipeline in Azure. These are some of the prerequisites as you can see, such as Azure subscription, Azure DevOps account, Azure DevOps project, service connection, Git repository, and storage account. As we all know, whenever you want to create any resources in Azure, we must have at least one Azure subscription in place. So in my case, I have already logged into my Azure portal, and as you can see, there are two subscriptions in place. Fine. Now, the second one is your Azure DevOps account. In order to work with Azure DevOps, you need to create separate Azure DevOps account. In my case, I have already created and I have logged into my Azure DevOps portal, that is dev.azure.com. And as you can see here, this is your organizations. Under organizations, you will have multiple projects, right? So now I will select the project in which I'll be working in. So I'll be selecting Agile Project 01. This is the project in which I'll be working, right? So fine. Now we have understood the first and second, second and third. Now service connection. As we all know, we are planning to provision our infrastructure from Azure DevOps. So now I need a way where I can authenticate to my Azure resource provider, right? So how I can do that? So this is why I need a service connection. So there is an option, go to specific project. There is a project settings on your left side down below. Then you select for the pipeline. Under pipeline, you select the service connections. You can see, right? Service connection under pipeline, service connections. Then as you can see over here on your right side, new service connection, click over there. Now you select because like I mentioned, we are going to provision our infrastructure in Azure DevOps, sorry, in Azure Cloud. So I need to type Azure. As I type Azure, it will be listed below such as like this. So in my case, I'll be selecting Azure Resource Manager. So what it does basically, when I create the service connection, this Azure DevOps, right? This Azure DevOps has to communicate or authenticate with your Azure provider using API. Okay, so I will select this one. Then there is an option if you can see authentication method. We will select as third one, that is your service principal. Now let me select next. Then you get to see something called as the scope level. So in my case, let it be as subscription level. In my case, I have two subscription. Let me select one of them. So in my case, I'll select dev test because this is the place where I am going to deploy all my resources. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to select the resource group and then service connection name. So in service connection name, you can give any name. In my case, you just mention it's DevOps s- service connection 1000. I'll give just okay. 1000. I'll give. This is the name that I want. You can give a description. And we need to remember one thing whenever you create a service connection, make sure you take this one. So security, as you can see here, check, you can see grant access permissions to all pipelines. Meaning, if you take this one, this specific service connection can be used for any pipeline. Let's say in within your project, right? Because this is under project. So within your project, if you have a multiple pipeline, the same service connection you can use it. You don't have to create separate service connection for each pipeline. Okay, so you can use one common service connection that is within your project. So let me save it. All right, now let's go with the next one that is your repository. So as we all know, so we have infrastructure. This is the my repository. This is my GitHub. Okay. So as you can see, GitHub. So I have my repository where I have located. It is located in GitHub. So all my application core as well as the infrastructure related code is available in my GitHub. So as you can see here, such as virtual machines, bnet, variables, then resource groups and everything, and including the additional resource group, resources, I mean. So there are so many others. So for now, what we do, basically, we are good now. Repository also we have because we need to store our Terraform configuration file so that we can provision our infrastructure to Azure with the help of Azure DevOps, right? So this is why I have pushed my code to remote repository, that is GitHub. Now you will also have to understand one more thing is your backend, backend.tf. If you can see your storage account, this storage account will be used for your backend configuration itself. Backend storage basically. What is backend storage now? Let's say usually if you whenever you run a Terraform apply, once the Terraform is doing successfully provision your infrastructure, right? By default in your local system, there is something called as terraform.tf state file is created and it is stored in your local system, right? So this one normally when you work with in a project or in a company, right? You normally don't store in your local system. So usually you have to store somewhere in your centralized location so that other also can access and do modification based on the Terraform changes like configuration they want to do it based on the requirement. So, but if you store your Terraform state, let's say in your local system, for some reason, if you miss that one, it will be biggest problem and also it is a security risk also. So this is why the best practice you have to store your storage account, I mean the storage state file in your centralized location. So when comes to Azure, it will be a storage account, and when comes to AWS, you have to use a S3 bucket for your storing the state file and DynamoDB that is used for the state locking. Okay. So what it means, if you see here, this is the I have defined my resource group name, Terraform, I mean storage account name, container name, same thing I can show you over here, which is already existing. You need to first create this and make everything ready. Okay, so I have created my storage account name as you can see here, same thing. Then this is a resource group. You can verify if you want. Sorry, you can verify here. Then we have a container name, TF container 01, right? TF container 01. You can go in the head. You can see TF container. Okay, then TF dot Terraform.tf state file you can see over here. Okay, so basically now if I do any kind of changes also in my remote, what happens by default? Here, if you can see here, there's something known as a listed. It will be as listed. Listed is nothing but if one of the person, your team, let's say, doing some changes in your Terraform configuration, at the same time, other person cannot be uh, do any kind of changes within your Terraform. So this is one of the best use cases and the best practice where we need to have because otherwise we never know what kind of changes do and what, right? So this is why it is always best practice we have to maintain the state file very well. So this is why if you're maybe making any changes to your Terraform configuration file, at the same time other person will not be able to do any modifications. Okay, it will be in a listed state. Once you complete your Terraform whatever task you're supposed to do, then only it will be as available state. Right now it is not running anything, so that is why it is showing as available state. All right. Now let's understand the flow, basically the CI/CD workflow. Like I mentioned already, in my cases, I have my Terraform configurations and application related code in my local systems. What I did was I have pushed in my remote repository. I have modified based on what is needed for me, and then I have pushed that code to my remote repository. That is, I have pushed to code repo in the sense I have pushed to my GitHub in my case. Then comes your continuous integration. In continuous integration, what it does basically, it is building and testing your applications on your code. So this is ensuring you everything is up to date. Whether your code you have, if there is any issue within the code, or maybe if there is issue, any issue with your application related code, you can fix it within your I mean continuous integration process. So once everything is good, once you build the application or once you scan the test everything based on the output of your bill, you're going to have a artifacts. So when I said the artifacts, nothing but it is the output of your bills, right? So the artifacts I'm going to publish to my Azure pipeline. That will be in your continuous deployment. So in continuous deployment phase, what I'll do, I will take the artifacts, then I will deploy to my target environment. Let's say in my case, it is a Azure means Azure Web App, Azure Terraform, sorry, Azure Kubernetes or Azure Web App like that. So you can deploy anywhere, wherever you want. So, but we are talking about Terraform. So in our case, what we do, we are going to publish the artifacts from your build and to your Azure pipeline, and we will take the artifacts in my CD process. We'll take the artifacts, and we are going to basically build a infrastructure. I mean, deploy the infrastructure to Azure. All right, so let's see how it works. So as you can see here, these are some of the key concepts for Azure pipeline structures, right? So first, let me take you to my Azure I mean Azure DevOps portal. This is my Azure DevOps portal. Let me go to particular projects where I am having it. Okay, now here I'm into particular projects. As you can see here, Agile Project 01. Let me click on pipelines. Once I go to pipelines, there is an option on your right side, new pipeline, create new pipeline. So like I mentioned, in my case, it is asking me where is your course located. In my case, as I mentioned, our core is located in our in our GitHub. So let me select GitHub. All right. So now it is selected the GitHub. Now in the GitHub, now I have to select the specific repository. So in my case, this is I have not sure. Let me select the actual one. So like I mentioned, this is my repository. This is the name Azure Pulse, right? Let me see. Azure Pulse, if you can somewhere, you can see, right? Azure Pulse. So let me select this one. Okay. Once I select this one, automatically it is got loaded. It is taken from the previous system. So anyway, we are going to use this only same. But if you want, you can write from the scratch also. It is very simple. Fine. Now we need to understand first thing here, the pipeline structure. As you can see here, the trigger, right? Trigger, what it basically does, if you see the definition, a trigger tells a pipeline to run. So if you see here trigger, it is mentioned as main. That means it is asking whenever if there is any changes happening in your main branch, you have to run the pipeline. Okay. Now we are good with the trigger. Now second is your pull. Pull basically this will be carried for your to come to do your task, whatever task you have defined here. They will carry forward. They will do for you that whatever task you have designed. This basically a by default Microsoft hosted. Okay. So there is another one that is your self-hosted. We will learn that later. So for now, you just use the default one that is a Microsoft hosted one. That will be BM image will be Ubuntu latest. Okay. Now, as you can see here, under pipeline we have a multiple stages. Under multiple stages, in each stage you can have a agent or jobs. And if you see, and each agent can also have a they can have a step script. They can have multiple different things. If you see here, a pipeline is just made up of one or more stages. A pipeline can deploy to one or more environments. A stage is a way of a stage is a way of organizing jobs in a pipeline, and each stage can have one or more jobs. Like I mentioned, you can have one or more jobs in each stage. You can see stage, you can have multiple jobs. Let's say here jobs, you have agents, etc. Okay, if you can see here, and Each job runs on a agent. A job can also be agentless. Some jobs can be agentless as well. Okay, and each agent runs a job that contains one or more steps. So if you see here, each agent, whenever you run the agent side job, can contain one or more steps. So if you see here, agent we have, they can carry forward multiple steps as well. Now, a step can be a task or script and is the smallest building block of a pipeline. Meaning, if you can see here, this is the step or the task. If you see here, the last one, right? Under steps, we can steps. We have a script. Some steps we can have a task, so on. Here, as you can see here, another step that is your task. So the if you see here, the first one, the steps that is script, and another script, sorry, steps that is used for a task to build, sorry, publish the build artifacts. And another task can be used for your Azure app service deployment. And if you see the last one, that is another task that can be used for invoking the REST API. And a task is a prepackaged script that performs an action such as invoking a REST API or publishing a build artifact. An artifact is a collection of files or packets published by a run. So that we need to understand. All right, so we will follow these steps and we'll try to create a pipeline first and see how we can use it. All right, this is my pipeline. So I have already written before so that we will not spend much time over here. So what we do, we understood about the trigger, when to run. Now we understood the pull, and then this is the important stages. If you refer these documents, it's a first stages. Under pipeline, we have multiple stages. So I given a stages. Under stages, we'll have a stage. If you see here, we can have a stage, right? Individual stage basically. And each stage can have a, in my case, I can give it a name as a stage as build, and display name you can give it as whatever name you want, build, and jobs. And each stage can have a job. If you remember here, stage can have a job or agent. So in your case, you can have a job or agent. In my case, I have a jobs. Okay. Under jobs, we can have a job. Jobs name I give an build. This is a display name. And under jobs, we can have a steps. If you steps under jobs, if you see here under jobs, right, we can have a steps also can have a task. So in my case, our step also can have a script. If you just see under steps, we have a script or task, depends on your use cases. So in my case, if you see here, we are going to have a task itself. See under steps, we have if you click on the settings, okay, in your settings tab you can see here Terraform install tool installer. They are going to install the latest one. And under the, you have to just keep in mind this, the cursor, you should be in the same place. You just notice here, okay? It should be in the same locations. So if you select the second one and you get to see here, that is your provider. In my case, as we all know, that is your Azure Resource Manager, that is Azure RM. So what command are you going to run for the first time? That will be the first Terraform init, right? Terraform init will be the first command in Terraform. So I'll select the first Terraform init commands. And and this is important, my dear friends. This is like a configuration directive. So in this case, what you do is basically, if you just need to understand one more thing is that um, system.default working directory is a key variables which is used in pipeline. If you just see here, you can click here also and see like, okay, system.default working directory, right? What it basically means. The default directory on the build agent where your codes, source code is downloaded and runs, tasks are run. So this is where you will your source codes everything will be downloaded and it will be run. So in my case, if you remember, the repository where we have a Terraform code basically. If you see here, this is the location, right? If you see here, this is my Terraform manifest. Let me go inside. This is where we have all my Terraform configuration. So I will have to select entire part. Let me select this part and then let me go here till here basically. This is default, right? Just slash report, then put the path. What you get here, path, sorry, yeah, here. Copy this part and paste it. All right, so this is we are good with the first one. So same thing I'll be using for another task also. I'll copy the, okay. Now it's asking me the Azure backend configurations. This is basically you will be used to store your Terraform state file. As we all know that the Terraform state file need to be stored somewhere in your centralized location. So in our case, it will be Azure storage account. So this is why I have to select this as well. So if you see here, I have to select the subscription details. In my case, Azure, this is subscription details. Okay, and then what is the resource group name? This is a resource group name, and what is your storage account name? This is the storage account name. If you want, you can check it. This is already existing in my Azure. As you can see here, this is my storage account name, and this is my resource group name. You can all check that as well. Okay, storage account name. This is storage account name. Container name tf.container01. If you see container name tf.container01. Okay, so we are good now. So what we will do, I will just save this one, and also you have to mention this key. Okay, terraform.tf style. Same thing we have mentioned here. Terraform under here, if you go Terraform.tf state. If you remember in our pipeline also, I mean in our here backend also we have defined all everything. You need to define this also, like I mentioned. You have to define here, as you can see here, right? Fine. Now let's go with the next one. So what you do simply, you click under once you're okay with everything, right? Just select this one. So in my case, I have all done that one. I don't have to do again and again. So I'll just do same thing. I copy it. This is for validations. Then we will have next is for your custom. Custom means I want to another this is your format. I want to use the Terraform format command so that if there is any syntax issue or maybe not that accurate or anything, it will correct it. Let's say in my case, just to show you, let's say in your case, let's say if you see here, this configuration file is basically it is not in the right place, right order. What you do, you can like if you want to do something like this in the correct way, how you can do so with the help of Terraform format, you can have a very nice way, organized way. Okay, fine. Now we understood this also. Then another task I have defined, but carefully you have to just remember if you see this one line, right, this should be in the same place. Put your cursor over there and just add it. So, so another task will be used if you just click in your settings. This will take you what is the things that you have updated. In my case, that is again a plan phase. So select the same part. Okay, same subscription you have to select. Now this is good. Plan also done. Now we will go with the next one. This is your build.sources directory. So builds.sources directory, and here you can see the builder artifact staging directory. So what is the build or source directory first? Let's understand. So if you see here build or source directory, actually there's a small mistake here. It will be a sources, not the source. Okay, build or sources S will be there after E. So build dot sources directory, it will be a what exactly it does. The local part on the agent where your source code files are downloaded. Okay, so this will be a local part of your agent on the agent where your source code files are downloaded. So this is why what I'll do now, I will this is a task to copy the file. So I will copy from the agent basically from the local listing whatever downloaded happening. I will copy that one and I'm going to target folder where I am going to move. I'm going to move to builder artifact staging directory. So now let's see what is that builder artifact staging directory, right? Let me check. Uh, yeah, builder artifact staging directory, right? So what exactly it is? The local part on the agent where artifacts are temporarily staged before being pushed to the artifact repository. Okay, so it is just for temporary where before pushing to your artifact repository, it will be stays. Okay, so in our case, so we are going to move that one. So we are going to from your build to your temporary stays. Once we have moved that one, I can just, if all okay, just select the cursor over there. Okay, add it. Once you add this thing, then you can have a another one. Let's say for publishing. Just click on the settings. Again, same thing. Now, if you remember in our this thing we have given, now we will take from that one, the from the staging, we will take it from there, and you can change the artifacts name based on your requirement. Change it, and we are going to publish this one to where Azure Pipeline, and you can share to as a file share also. But in my case, we will store in Azure Pipeline. So I will publish. So the reason why I want to publish to Azure Pipeline because I want these artifacts to be available in my continuous deployment phase. This is why I need to get these artifacts available in my continuous deployment phase. This is why I need to publish this one to Azure Pipelines. All right, so let me select this one. So I have selected. Maybe if you're new, maybe if you see if you're confusing or maybe not sure how we can write the automated way, right? What you do in your case, I'm not doing just showing you. Just type Terraform related. Now you see a Terraform. See, there is an option. Now, based on whichever you want, select everything. Okay, all details you select. Then you just add it here. Let's say you just put in here. Let me select the simple one that is validated. Let me show you. Okay, I don't want to do any changes just to show you. Okay, click your cursor over here. Once you click your cursor here, just select. So right now you can, it is not in the right way. What you do? So it is still one more space you give. If you see it's in the same line, okay. Now you give this thing. So it is very carefully you have to do this one. So let me select the validator. Let me edit. So before that, let me put a cursor over there and then edit. Now you see it is in the right place, okay. But in my case, we have already done it. So I will have to remove this first. I will remove this one. All right, so now we are good with this part. So I think it is all good. Now what we are going to do is that we are going to save this one. First, commit. You can give any name based on your net 01. Let's wait for maybe 1 or 2 minutes. Okay, as you can see now, the it is in the build phase. Let me click in the build. Now I need to first, if you see here, this pipeline needs a permission to access the resource before this run can continue to build. Okay, let me just review, and there is an option to permit. Let me select permit. Okay, granting permissions here will permit the use of service connections. If you remember this one, we did it right. Okay, let me just for the only for the first time. And now it is going. Yeah, it is granted. If you can see here, it is granted. Now let's wait. So now it is started. So what it does is actually in the backend, when in your continuous integration phase, what it does basically, like I mentioned, first based on the application code. In my case, we don't have any application code. We have just used the Terraform configuration file. In your case, if it is an application, they will scan everything, they will test it everything in your code. But in my case, there's a simple Terraform configuration. So in the face of Azure here, right, continuous this phase, continuous integration phase, it will build us and test it. So in our case, if you see now, you can check first what it does. First, it basically it initialized the job and then it went to checkout. Checkout in the sense what is going to check out the code what is available in my repository. Okay, they are going to check out everything whether everything is good, and if all good, then they will initiate the Terraform. In it, once they install the Terraform, then they will initialize the first command that is a Terraform init. Okay, once this is successfully done, you can see initializing the backend. and then we have it here, Terraform validate. Then it is going to validate whether if there is any syntax issue or anything, they will check it. If all goes, then fine. We can also do another. This is an additional one. If you want, you can use or you can ignore this one, Terraform format. Even the validator also again optional, but it is always good to keep this also. So I prefer to keep format as well as validate. Okay, and maybe I didn't change the name here. Okay, this is going to do another task. This is going to basically a plan. Okay, in the plan phase, you see whatever how the uh, infrastructure or the issue is going to be created. You can see full plan. Okay, you can see there are so many resources are. So these are plan. Then based on the plan, it is done. What they are going to do? They are going to copy. They are going to copy the builds. They are going to copy, and they are going to once if you see here, okay, they are going to copy everything what is needed, and then we are going to publish that one. Publish the artifacts. What is been built now that need to be published, right? So the artifacts will be published to your Azure pipeline. So this is where you publish the artifacts. So if you see here, uploaded artifacts. Okay, now we are good with this one. That means our continuous integration phase or continuous integration is completely done here. Now what we have to do is that if you see here succeed, right? You can see succeed. Then you can see here one publish. This will be the artifacts which you uploaded or publish. Okay, which you publish. So these artifacts I'll be using in my continuous integration. I mean deployment phase. So let me open another tab so that I can use it. Right now I'm good with the continuous integration phase. Now let me go with the continuous deployment. All right, now as you can see here, there is an option continuous, I mean release option, releases. Click here, there is an option create a new release, right? You just have to select this one. Then you first give a stage name. In my case, I'll just give a, you can give any name, depends on your use, your naming, but normally in your project, you have to give it's a production, non-pro, staging, or maybe UAT, whatever. But in my case, just for testing, so we don't have to think much about that. I'll just give a staging. Now I'm good with this name. Now I need to the artifacts. If you remember, this artifact what is been uploaded in my continuous uh, what do you call it? Continuous integration phase. What I have got the artifacts right. These artifacts now I need to take it. I need to upload these artifacts in my continuous deployment. Let's see how we can do that. If you just see the artifacts name, what is the name? Terraform. Sorry, artifacts Terraform. Let's see. Now I'll go here. There is an option if you can see in your in your release pipelines, you can see the add us. Sorry, add an artifacts. So let me select this one. Now it is if you see option source type. Where is your the what you call the artifacts located, right? As we all know, this is my project, like I mentioned already before. And under this project, we will have specific the repository. So we will see what is the repository name. So what I'll do, I'll click over here, pipelines. This is the what is the name? First commit Azure DevOps Pulse. So fine. So let me see what we can see with this name, Azure DevOps Pulse. Yeah, this one, Azure DevOps Pulse. And then the version name is given. If you see here, this is the artifacts name, right? Artifacts Terraform. If you see here, you get to see like I have already shown you. Just to be sure, I will show you one second. Then there is a this thing. Okay, so we are good. So right now, what we did was we have taken the artifacts that is from your continuous integrations and the that is located in your pipelines, and we have attached that one in continuous deployment phase. All right, so as you can see here, I will select this one. This is the correct one. So right now, the artifact which was published from my CI, that is from the build, right, which got published to Azure artifacts. So sorry, Azure pipeline. So I have attached the artifacts in my continuous deployment phase, which is here, right? I have attached now. So what I'll do now, here, this is the staging phase. Now I will have to deploy now. I will take this artifact from my CI, right? I have taken already, I have attached also. Now I need to deploy this infrastructure which was written in my core. If you see, these all the configuration, Terraform configuration file, that is your uh, provisioning your infrastructure, right? It could be your network, binaire, subnet, as well as virtual machines, backends, for backends, everything, including multiple resources are there. So these all, what I'll do is that, I mean here, okay. So there are so many other resources are there. So what I'll do now, I have attached the basic artifacts. So I'm good with the artifact part. So what I'll do now is that I'm going to, in your staging, I need to now how I need to deploy to my destination that is in Azure. So let me select, click over there. If you click there, there is an option called as a agent. This is a agent job. This is a default one. You can change it if you want, but in my case, let it be as it is. I don't have to think much about for now. Let me select the new task. So in my case, what I'll do now, I will have to select the here. First one, I need to install the Terraform because this is another agent being used. The agent which was used in my CI, it is destroyed. Okay, because I'm this is an CI continuous integration process. So I need to once again install in on the systems. But in your case, if it is a if you have dedicated like what you call agent pool, in this case you don't have to do that. But in my case, I don't have dedicated server, so that is why I need to install it once again Terraform. Okay, all right. So now this I'm keeping as default. Now I will just let us Terraform let us. Now next is Terraform. There is a search here. Terraform you type. There is an option if you can see here. Terraform, click there. Now first command is your Terraform initialization. So I will just mention init or initialize. Okay, I'll just mention Terraform init. And then as we all know, the provider would be your resource manager. I mean Azure RM. Then I'll keep it as init. Now this is important. This is the artifacts which we publish. If you see the same thing, configuration directory, right? This is the directory which we need to refer now. This directory means, let me show you here. If you see here artifacts, the link artifacts, which we uploaded in my, we have attached the artifacts, right? So I'm taking the artifacts now. Go to same repository with same, that is, this is the one v1 Terraform manifest. If you remember, here we have, right? So we are taking this one, right? Now I will select this one. Okay, now I'm good with this one. Now, if you want to give an additional command, I can give, or I don't have to. And this is they will again ask you to configure your Azure RM backend configuration. Backend configuration is for your state file. The Terraform state file, you have to store it, right? So you need to define a detail. So what you do in my case, I can select the two, then resource group, as I mentioned already. This is the resource group, storage account, same storage account which was existing. Let me show you once again, just to be sure. This is the storage account. This is the container name. Okay. This is the key name. That is your terraform.tf-state. Fine. Now we are good with this one. Now we will have to say container name. If you remember, this is tf.container. Then the key. You can copy from anywhere or you can type it. So in my case, what I'll do, I will maybe there is an option, right? I can what you do. If you want, you can if you see your backend. So depends on your convenience. If you're not sure with the name, you just copy better. Terraform.tf-state. Okay. So now let me paste it here. So I'm good here now. What I did was now in the initialize phase, I have taken the attached artifacts, the direct work configuration directory. So I've taken from the artifact which was attached. Okay. Then I have initialized the Terraform and I have configured the backend. So in my case, I'm good with the first one. Now second is a plan. Sorry, I can have a instead of plan, I can have a validate first. Terraform. This is validate is just optional, but just to make sure everything goes well. This is why I want to basically run that as well. So I just mentioned Terraform validate. So provider as URM. So validate there is an option. Yeah, here. Then again same thing. You can select this same part, or you can directly go. If you're not sure, you can just refer the link. There is options. Select the same Terraform manifest. Click there. Okay, and then nothing else. Validate option is good. Next, your plan. Terraform, select the Terraform task. Then you mention the plan. In plan, I will select the plan command as plan. In plan, what I can see here, again, I need to define the part. So in my case, what I'll do, I'll just go to same locations. You can copy paste it instead of doing all this manually. Just copy paste it once and just use it. So better, I'll also copy paste it for now. Let's see. Now is in plan. So in plan, what I can do if you just here subscription, because here they will try to authenticate. That is why you need to give a subscription details. So I will select the subscription details, and here if you just click here, there is a button, right? Just click here. You can see example. You can have this kind of. So I want to get this for Terraform plan. So I will use this one. Let me show you Terraform plan. Okay, I have used it. Fine. Now continuous. This is done. Plan phase. We are good. Now is your apply. Terraform apply. Terraform apply. I will just mention deploy to Azure. Whatever name you can give. This is a display name. Okay. So here you can change this one to apply. Now apply where? Now again the link. Sorry, I have not copied that part. Let me go back. Or otherwise I can tag from my plan. If you remember here I have taken it. I can copy same thing and use it here. Okay, just to save the time. Now we are good with the apply now. Here, if you remember in my continuous, I mean here, normally we use a Terraform apply. Once you do automatically, there is a pop-up message, right? Whether you want to continue. Normally, when it comes to the Azure DevOps, that is not a this thing. Good tries. What you have to do, you don't have to. There is automatic way, no? So what you do, you have to usually do. Usually, what you do, you type here auto approve. Okay, auto approve with the same thing. What I do, I can type here also additional comments as auto approve. So you don't have to manually I mean put yes or no. Now it is asking me the subscription. Let me select the subscription which I have. This is the one. So okay, now I'm good with the first one, deploy phase that I'm going to apply. This is the argument I given, and I can use your another that has to tag from my plan. If you remember, this is the name I given, the plan. Okay, from the plan, whatever it is in bin, I will use that one. Okay, I'm good now. Now, okay, let me save this one. Okay, now I will clone this also. If you want, you can clone. Or normally in your project, you will have multiple stages, maybe for staging, development, testing, UAT, like that. Okay, production you will have. Lot many you will have. In my case, this is just for testing. So you can clone it also with the existing this thing also. If you want to have multiple staging. So just to show you, there is an option. You just click over here. There is an option clone. Click that. So you can now modify the name. So whatever you have mentioned a task, you can replicate that one. So I'll just mention destroy. Basically, what I want to do, I don't want to provision or deploy to another environment. So what I want is that I want to destroy once everything goes, but I want this to be done manually. In the sense, once somebody has to approve it, then only it will be destroyed. Okay, so I'll mention destroy. Sorry, spelling bad. Destroy. Okay, destroy resources. Okay, so I have done this thing. Now I will just change the task. As you can see here, whatever I had in my staging, yes, what same thing I have it. So only one thing I need to change here is that here, the last one. This one is here. Instead of deploy, I want to change this one to destroy resources, and I can change this one instead of apply. There is an option called destroy, and instead of plan, you can remove this plan. So what you do here now is just auto approve. So rest remains same. So nothing much different. So just click here. So okay, now let me go here. This how it is now. Okay, right now what? So it is going to build the infrastructure based on what has been defined in your configuration file, and then what I do now, I need to pre-deployment condition basically. Pre-deployment, I will make a conditions. After stage, what it does basically, there is an option if you see here, pre-deployment approval, right? Somebody need to approve manually. Then only the VM will be deployed, I mean destroyed. So in my case, normally, now usually you don't have to assign this one to yourself. You will be assigning to one of your senior person or based on the projects who takes care of the editing, right? So it is depends on the team. So in my case, I'm assigning to myself itself because I don't have anybody to assign for now. So usually in your case, you will not assign to yourself, and this is not recommended to assign to yourself. You need to assign to some other person. So okay, let me select as my name. So okay, now we are good. So what it means now, this infrastructure is going to build everything in place, and then let me save it. Okay, let me save and then create a release. So what it basically does whenever as per this stage, right? First, it will build the infrastructure based on what I have the artifacts, taken the artifacts from there, and I have deployed to my Azure. And after this thing, also it is going to have another task staging that is here for destroying the resources. Here, but it will not directly go and destroy the resources. What it does basically is that first of all, pre-deployment there is conditions in the sense before applying these changes I need to first approve. In a sense, before destroying the resources, somebody need to approve it, or you can reject also. If you reject, it will not be destroyed. If you approve it, it will be destroyed because you have defined in your Terraform task, right? So right, this is all how it is. Now let me, if you can see here, there is an option called release one. So let me click over there, or you can click here also. So if you can see, they're going on. So however you want. In my case, let me go here. It will same take you to another place. Now you can see here. So this will check everything is good, fine, and everything. This will check it. If you remember, we are right now in your where deployed to Azure. Okay. So if you can see here, just expand this one. You can read one by one what is going on, everything. If you want to understand more about the steps, it is always good to understand and review the code how it is being used. So in initialization is nothing but you will initialize the configuration. You can check there is an option next task if you artifacts, right? Then the next one is your Terraform, install the Terraform latest. Okay. Then next one, your Terraform init we did. So how it is being used, you can check that. And then next one is your validate. After validations, then it is plan. So in plan itself, very important. So like I mentioned, you will get every details which is going to be created, like your resources. You can create, let's say, workspace, whatever name is going to create, right? Same thing, not just the workspace, whatever resources are there, everything you can check the logs. So now, as you can see, this is the resource in place. So okay, let me check the plan first. I want to understand what plan. If you can see all the details, how you can see use normally, same thing you can see in your Azure DevOps also. Fine. Now we understood this one, right? Then next is your deploy to Azure. So right now, if you see here, still creating. If you see the resources name, whatever name I have it, this is being created now. Before that, let me show you in my Azure portal whether I have any resources because I just started right now, so it may be got created some resource group. Let me check. Okay, let me just refresh. Okay, right now if you see the resource group got created and you can check the logs if you want to see more the details. You can see right 2 minutes ago. 2 minutes ago means still it is being created right now. Okay, the resource group is being created right now. Is just 2 minutes ago. And if you see other resources, let's see what else we have apart from the resource group. First, we will verify one by one. Under resource group, these many resources are going to be created or it is been created already. See, you can see the, you can verify if you want to check, you can check it. Let me show you. It is still being created right now. It is not successfully done. So let me show you. Maybe I need to open my, yeah, here. First, let me see the resource group name. This is the resource group name. I have it. If you see here, what is the name of the resource group? HTTP What is the resource group name I have? HTTP So I'm good with this one. So next, what else? Um, network. Click on network. If you see here, bnet name. What is the bnet name I have given here? This is a cost bnet 01, right? So let me go to here. If you see here, cost bnet 01, right? So if you see virtual network, what's next? You can verify everything like subnet, cost depth, subnet. Let me check cost depth subnet. Okay, so subnet will be created. You will not see the subnet here. Basically, subnet will be attached to your bnet. So what you do, you have to go inside your bnet. Inside bnet only, you have to get your subnet. So go to subnet, then you get to see over here cost bnet subnet. Because I have referred this one. If you remember here, the resource group is going, sorry, the bnet is going to create. And then after bnet, then what it does, it is going to create the subnet, and it is, if you remember here, somewhere right, yeah. So virtual net here, virtual network name. If you remember here, in the subnet, I have defined the virtual network name as my this thing. If you remember, as your RM virtual network till here and the local name or your biner. Same thing. This is your local name, biner. So I have defined dot name. So meaning the the subnet when I create, right, they have to reference from my biner itself. So I have defined in my subnet that one. So good. Apart from the subnet, you can see the NIC card also. The NIC card name how I want, if you remember here, if you see here, for each dot here, everything. Or what you can do basically, same thing I have defined in my also, you can check here also. The in virtual, I mean in BS code. In BS code also you can check it. Uh, Let me show you the variable file first. First we are going to, okay, first what we'll do, we'll try to understand about the NIC card, right? Okay. NSC card, if you see here, NIC card, network, yeah. So if you see here, the I have taken the forest variables. Okay, I have defined the name should be, I want some naming standard because in a project usually you have to define your the NSC as per the company process. So you can't just give the random name. So I want to follow some naming standard. So this is why what I did was I want the NSC name to be with along with my BM name. So in my case, this will be the BM name. At the last, it will be a NSC name, NSC 01. I mean. So I have defined in my variable, if you see var dot bmsq. So if you go variable file over here, you can see the SQ, right? Uh, yeah, bmsq. This is why I have defined in my virtual network. If you see here, bmsq. Okay. So if you that means it will be a first is dot key is nothing but that is on the right side, sorry left side. This will be your BM name. At last, it will be a BM name with your NIC 01. So if you check, you can check maybe in your here. Let me show you on the resource group. See here, bnet. This is my NIC name. So first name is a bnet name. What you do basically, you can simply type otherwise. Right now I have three NIC, right? So if you just see it, NIC name, it will be first it will be server name, second also is server name, third also is server name. At the last it will be NIC 010101 like that. Okay. So that's how we can have a naming standard. But in your case, if your project has some other different requirement, maybe you need to change that back accordingly. But in my case, I want to keep the NIC card along with my BM name so that it will be easy to identify. So fine. Same thing if you see here, I have defined a variable for my, okay, well here. If you see here, yeah, BMSQ, you can see. First BMSQ I given this size, second BMSQs I given, sorry, second BM should be this SQ, third BM should be created with this SQ. So I have basically defined based on my requirement. So what I want is that I want to create three virtual machines with different configuration or different SQs, right? So in your case, so this is why what I did was I use a meta argument called for is. So here, if you see here, I made a variable uh, that is, map. So why map I use it because I want to map with my server name with my SQ. So if you see here on your left side, you can see a server name. On your right side is SQ. So when you're defining your VM also virtual network, sorry, virtual machines, you can see over here name is the key. Again using the for each, right? So the if you see here variable is defined here based on the VM name will be picked up. Same thing for the size also. I given the is dot value because this is a for each meta argument, right? So I use the is dot value. If I use the is dot value, what I have in is dot value, if you can just see here, is dot value mean for this particular BM has to be this particular SQ. So let me see how we can just check. This should be DS1B2. All right, now this one is good. Now let me show you the virtual machines. Three got created. The 1500, right? So 1500, what is the SQ I want? 1500. If you see here, DS1B2. If you see here, DS1B2. And second, that is your 1900. That will be a D2SB2. Second server 1900. If you see D2SB2. And 1800, that is D2ASB4. 1800, it will be D2ASB4. So as per whatever I have defined in my variable file, the VM got created successfully. The data disk which got attached to the server. So 1900 server got attached 10 GB of size, and that is data disk 3. Let me check. 1900 VMs got attached 10 GB. Again, data disk name is data disk 3. And for others, let's say for 1500, you can check once that got attached 5 GB, and data disk size is, sorry, data disk name is data disk 1. Let me check. Okay, data disk 1, 5 GB, that is for 1500. So we are good here. So you can check everything here. So what we will do, so whatever resources we have defined in Terraform, everything is got created as we expected. Right now, what we are going to do is that we are like mentioned here. If you see here, it is successful, but I'm going to approve it, so it is going to destroy. Otherwise, what I'll do, I will reject for now because I want to do some changes. I will modify. I mean, I will reject for now. Not record. Not now. Okay. So I will reject first this one. Okay, it is got reject now. So what I'll do now, I will do some changes in my Terraform configurations. If I see here, resource group name is my if I go resource group, this is my resource group name as htdev. I will give some name. If you see there is no any tag, let me show you first. Go resource group. Then you can see, okay, this is a resource group. And if you go to tag, okay, I only have one default that is a production. So what I'll do, let me give, yeah, let me give her tag name as, let me tag where if I see dot common tag. So because why I use a variable files, because in my variable files I have defined all my tags. Let's say in variable file, if you see here, where is that? Here you can see I have this many tags. So this should be in place. Now, okay, now I have done this one. Now let me shape. Okay, let me save it. Then you can check git status. This is modification is done. Now let me git add git commit. Then we will have to mention the commit message tag added in RC. Now, okay, this is good. Now, what we have to do, we have to push this one, git push. Now it is pushed now. So as soon as we push now, what happens now? Um here also it will be updated. Before there, let me show you. If you remember before, I did not enable here continuous. If you see here, right? Now it is enable. Manual trigger you see here. Now let's wait. Maybe let me just refresh the space. Okay. So now we have like here not deployed. Okay. So what I have to do? This got cancelled. So till now we are good. So if you see here in your release pipeline, now one trigger will be this got created because this is as per if you remember we have given the trigger i- to main. That means if there is any changes happening in your main branch, the trigger should happen or the pipeline has to run. Okay, this is why it is going to run from if you see I have if you see here tag added in RC. This one I updated from I mean here. Yeah, this one is updated, right? So this is why now it is going to trigger down. So it is being triggered now. Let's wait maybe for some time. 1 second, your entire pipeline is going to run. Then once it is successfully done, then automatically in your continuous delivery, that is your continuous deployment, it has to start. Right now you see here, see it is started. We did not do anything manually. We just changed the code in my uh, local system. I just push the code. I have modified some code here. In my case, I have just add some tags from local and I push the code to my remote repository. In our case, GitHub. And in GitHub, if you remember, we have, let me check before that. Yeah, here, if you remember, we given, let me just let me go inside. Then let me edit pipelines. See, I just given this one trigger, that is main. So the pipeline will run whenever if there is any trigger happen or maybe any changes happen in your main branch. Okay. Usually you will not in your project or anything, you will not be working with your main branch always. Okay. In my case, if you see here, Git branch, right now I'm in the main branch. So basically in your case or whenever you're working with any project, right, you will not work with main branch. You maybe need to create separate branch and you have to modify the code in your separate branch, and then the branch you have to push to your remote and then merge it with your main branch. They have somebody will be there, so they have to review your code. If all works fine, good looks good, they will modify. I mean, they will merge the code. In the sense, they will pull request and merge it. Okay, so let's wait. So now we are good with the CI, continuous integration automatically happening. Now let's see continuous deployment. Release VN. Yeah, release also it is successfully done again. Yeah. So if you remember before we have rejected, once again, if you see here, now we can see the new one because now whatever changes we have done, it is going to update. Okay, it is success now. Now again here, destroy again resources here again approval showing. So let me see in my resource group because we have added tag, right? Let me check. This is a tag. We have only one. Let me refresh it. You see here, whatever name it cost manage, department, environment, owner, everything. If you just see here, this is a common tag. We have only one here, right? So this, if you see common variable, I mean tag variable, you can check it here. This name we given. We have different variables, and there's a map. I have used it like environment, then what else? Department owner and cost. There are four tags that are available. So this is why you can see all four tags available in your resource group as well. So that is called as continuous integration and continuous delivery. So right now what I'm going to do is, as we have already understood everything, so this all the course I will post it in my link in GitHub. You can try if you want to use it, maybe same code, you can try it out once. So okay, so for now what I'll do, I will first destroy this one because I don't want to charge for money because it will be cost. So I will use yes. Okay, then I will approve it this time. So if I approve, what happened now? The infrastructure, what is being already existing in your cloud, right? If you see here, it will be not just the BM enter resource group. I mean, I will take the resource group. Under resource group, we will have multiple resources. These all will be destroyed right now. Okay. Before that, let me show you one more thing. The state file. If you remember the storage account behavior, right? Right now, the Terraform, right now it is running in the backend. See here, it is deployed. So it is running, right? Your Terraform is running right now. The right now, if you see your state file, let me go inside containers. This is the, let me go inside containers. You see here, If you remember that time, it was showing as available. Right now, it is showing as list. The reason why it is showing the list because the Terraform commands is being executed right now. If you see here, right, this is being executed. Once it is successfully destroyed, then only the state file will be released. Right now, if somebody wants to do any changes in your Terraform configurations, let's say you're one of your team or colleagues, they cannot do anything because right now it will be in the state list state. So unless it is successfully completed your the Terraform, this basically you will not be able to run any Terraform commands or you cannot do any modifications basically. So that is the beauty of having centralized location to store your the state file, and also it is secure and a best practice. Fine, so let get destroyed. Maybe we will wait for it takes at least some time, so let's wait for at least a second. Meanwhile, maybe I will just pause the video for some time. You can check the later. I think it is going to take some more time, so meanwhile I will try to show you something. Uh, yeah, this is a state file which we have. In the state file, basically you will have everything that is got provision in your cloud. Let's say in our all resources, whatever been deployed right here, you will be able to see here. Let's say your public IP address, then we have your, you can see the VM name, then we have it. Yeah, there are so many other VMs, right? 1900. Then we have a resource group. So every single issues will be there. Right now, as you can, as you know that the resources being destroyed right now. So that is why you don't see much right now. So you basically will have entire your the state file of your cloud. Let's say in our case, Azure, right? So whatever we have deployed here, all the metadata will be stored in your state file. I think it is done. All this it is still taking time. So let's wait for some time. Yeah, I think this is good right now. As you can see right now, it is successfully destroyed. Okay, if you can see here, you go here, you can check it. You can check the, if you want, you can check the logs. Okay, it is done. So you can go and verify in your cloud. So what I do, go here, click on a resource group. Right now, I don't see any resource group, right? It is destroyed. Even if you go to your VM, yeah. So everything as it is got deleted. Okay. So that this is the beauty of CI/CD pipeline. So all right, my dear friends, I think this is clear now. So if you need this code, I will post it in the link. You can try this, try to do yourself and understand the flow first. And yeah, so let's wind up the sessions here. I look forward to see you in the next session. Till then, take care. Have a nice day.